I know you're ready for spring, I sure am, but is your wardrobe ready for spring? Today we're going to discuss 10 steps to take to get your wardrobe ready for spring, even while it's chilly outside. Hi ladies, welcome. I'm so glad you're joining me for today's video. My name is Kay. I am a mom of grown kids. I'm a wife. In fact, I'm married to a minister. I'm a blogger at dressformyday.com, and here every Wednesday I upload videos encouraging women, mostly in our 50s and above, simply to get dressed for our unique days so that we can show up for those around us. So I'm glad you're here for that. Today, let's talk about how to get our wardrobes ready for spring. Now, I'm not necessarily talking yet about changing out your wardrobe, putting away your winter clothes. In fact, I learned last year was our first year in Cincinnati. We had lived in the South all my life, and we moved to Cincinnati last year, and that was my first spring, and I froze. I had no idea that it would stay cool so long. In fact, I don't think spring really showed up until May. But I want to be ready to wear spring clothes even while it's chilly outside. So regardless of where you live, whether you are as far north as Canada, or you live in the South in Florida or Texas, or you live in a whole different country where the climate is very different, I want to get us ready today to wear spring clothing as soon as we want to, because you know what? We need to do that. We are craving happy and cheerful, aren't we? So I know we want to get our wardrobes ready for spring. Let's get started on those 10 tips, and I even have 2 bonus tips for you at the end. The first way, of course, that you can get your wardrobe ready for early spring is just to start looking for those pretty colors of spring. Now, in last week's video, I covered the colors that are trending for spring 2021, and you certainly could add some of those. I've done that today with this pretty sweater in this kind of a sorbet pink, a raspberry kind of a pink. But you also, of course, you could just look through your wardrobe and start pulling towards the front those pretty colors of long sleeve tees and sweaters and things like that. So start pulling those colors forth, and maybe it's time to push some of those darker colors to the back of our closet. The other colors that are trending this year are just a soft green and soft blues and soft lavenders. We're seeing a lot of muted effects on all of those pretty spring-like colors. Number 2, the next thing I'm going to do after I start thinking colors is I'm going to look for my trench coats. In fact, I've already found them. I'll be showing them to you today. I have about 4 different trench coats, I think, maybe even more than that. But I love a classic trench coat for the spring. It's great for the fall too, but something about the spring when it's windy outside and that cold is kind of biting in the morning. I love covering my outfit with a classic trench coat. I have short trench coats, I have longer trench coats, whichever works for you. If you don't have a trench coat in your wardrobe, this is one of those classic pieces you might want to consider because it will not go out of style. Now, my pretty pale pink one, it may not be the most classic, but you know what? I happen to have the intel to know that Talbot's is once again this year coming out with another pink trench coat. So you really can wear these colored trench coats for years too. I love the way a trench coat keeps me warm. It keeps the wind off without adding a lot of heat or a lot of bulk, and it just looks spring-like. The next thing you need to find from the back of your closet is your loafers and your mules. Now, maybe like me, you've been wearing your loafers some this winter. I've mostly worn my black loafers this winter, and I'll probably keep wearing them in the spring, but I'm also pulling out my more caramel colored loafers, the ones that just kind of look more spring-like. And I have some really pretty navy suede mules that I picked up last fall at Talbot's, but I've put them to the back of my closet because, they were just a little too cool for the winter. But as spring starts coming in, it will be nice to have these shoes where you can bare a little bit of your ankle, but you don't have to be pedicure ready. And I'm not pedicure ready this early in spring in March. So these are the shoes that I'll be reaching for in early March. Now, like I said, I really froze last spring, and one of the things I determined as spring, or as the winter months, it felt like the winter weather kept edging into spring, was I decided I needed some cotton sweaters. And so that's why I bought this it's just such a soft sorbet pink sweater. It's 100% cotton from Talbot's. They have them in other really pretty spring-like colors. But you know what? You can find them all over the place. I do prefer 100% cotton simply because it is that natural fiber that insulates. It keeps you warm when you want to be warm, cool when you want to be cool. You can wear it into the summer, especially on those cool nights or that mountain vacation or that beach vacation. So it's a good idea to add a cotton sweater to your wardrobe if you don't have one. You might want one in a pretty neutral, like a camel or a navy or a cream, but I also love having a couple of really pretty colors in a cotton sweater. You can, of course, layer a tank or a t-shirt under your sweater or wear it by itself. And it's just great to wear over jeans or over those khakis. Even with a skirt, the right skirt, you can do that. There's just so many ways to wear a cotton sweater in the spring. Now, another option up top instead of a sweater would be a pretty sweatshirt. I bought this pretty kind of a rosy colored sweatshirt from Talbot's last summer. And of course, I wore it late into the summer, into the fall, but then it just got to be looking kind of spring-like, so I put it away. So now is the time to pull out those springy colors of sweatshirts that you may have. I know I have a pale blue one I'll be pulling out. So either look for a pretty sweatshirt to add to your wardrobe, especially if you're wearing a lot of athleisure wear, or pull that one out of the back of your drawer. Now, of course, you'll also want to be layering on some lightweight layers during spring. Once again, we're back into layering. I love layering in the winter, of course, but you don't see all the layers in the winter. But in the springtime, you get to see the layers because maybe you're wearing a cardigan instead of a pullover or a jacket instead of a coat. So get those layers ready. This is definitely a time to get your t-shirts in order. I'm a firm believer in having a solid white, black, and even gray or navy t-shirt in my wardrobe ready to go. You want to make sure those t-shirts are clean. They don't have any, tears or places they're worn out on the edges. Make sure they don't have underarm stains or makeup stains around the neck. So if it's time to buy a new t-shirt, my suggestions are for a V-neck t-shirt. I love the Supima cotton t-shirt from Banana Republic. I have those in gray, white, and black. They just lay beautifully along the neckline. They are the nice weight. They're a lightweight, but they're not see-through, so I love that. For a crew neck tee that would maybe peek out from the edges of a V-neck sweater or something, I like the Mott and Bow t-shirts, and I'll give you links to all of those in the description box below. Of course, you also may want some 3/4 length sleeve t-shirts and some long sleeve t-shirts depending on where you live. This is just definitely the time to get those t-shirts in order so that when those spring days do hit, you're ready with some pretty colors in those t-shirts, but also maybe, like I said, those neutrals, black, white, gray, navy. The next thing you're going to need to search in your closet for is probably your blazers. If, like me, you love to wear a classic blazer, whether it's a fitted blazer or a boyfriend blazer, this is the time to go find it again. I know I wear them a lot during the fall, but then I tend to put them away during the winter as it just gets too cold and they're kind of bulky under a coat, so I don't wear my blazers as much. So I love pulling them out at this time of year because they do add some warmth, but they can look really fresh and springy, especially a nice cotton twill blazer or even a knit stretch blazer. They're making them in beautiful colors these days, so this is a great piece to add to your wardrobe if you don't have one. You do not have to look dressed up in a blazer. You really can dress that thing down with a t-shirt, maybe even a graphic tee underneath, your jeans and your sneakers. It's such a fun way to do spring. My next tip is that you trade in that wool scarf for a silk scarf. And even if you are wearing your heavy coat still, you can wear a silk scarf instead of that wool scarf. It doesn't add as much warmth, but it will protect your neck from the wind and a little bit from the cool. And plus, there's just something about a silk scarf that says spring to me. It just is light and airy and feminine and flirtatious. So I love pulling out my silk scarves at this time of year and using it especially with a trench coat. I just really think that is so classic. It just reminds me of Tippi Hedren or Doris Day, you know, wearing a classic trench with a silk scarf around their head. I may not put it around my head, but I love draping it loosely around my neck. It adds some color, but also a little bit of warmth to that look. My ninth tip is to add a little more white to your outfits. So today I have added a white bangle. This is, I think I got this at Talbot's a few summers ago. I've added some white pretty earrings. They're little flowers on these hoops. I love that. I'll link them below. I hope they're still available. I'm also, actually you can't see them, but I'm wearing my white sneakers. This is just that time of year as we get into spring and March to pull out those white sneakers and wear them. They just look so fresh, whether they're canvas or leather. Of course, you can also add white to your outfit with a belt, with your handbag, with some other accessories. But of course, this is definitely the time to start wearing those white jeans and white chinos. Yes, you absolutely can wear white jeans all year long. I do have some blog posts on my blog where I've shown how to wear white jeans during the winter. I love especially wearing them with gray or with camel. I think that is so chic in the winter. But personally, I have opted this year not to wear white jeans at all in the winter, just so that I could have the pleasure of bringing them out in the spring and them being just so new and fresh and feeling like a treat. So if you, like me, have been keeping those white jeans back, this is the time to pull them forward. Those white jeans, those white chinos, even that white jean skirt, this is the time to do that. And then number 10 is khakis or chinos. They are really trending this year. Now, I've always thought that these are just the classic spring pant because they're still long, but they're lightweight. Now, this year, as we talked about in last week's video, we're going to see all sorts of iterations of this classic pant. We're going to see fuller legs, more relaxed fits. We're going to see wide legs. We're going to see the paper bag waist pants. We're going to see some that look more like joggers. So you might want a fresh pair of chinos in one of those new, fresh iterations. But also those classic chinos that you have in your closet, this is the time to pull them out and think about how you could wear them maybe with a long sleeve tee and a denim jacket. You could still be quite warm in those early days of March and April. Now, I do have 2 bonus tips for you to get your closet ready for early spring. One is to think about ways to freshen up your athleisure wear or even your workout wear. You know, many of us are still staying at home a good bit, and also we've just gotten into the vibe of being more comfortable and cozy. I think we're not going to be saying goodbye to our joggers and our leggings and tights anytime soon. So whether you're working out, you're just going for a walk, or you're just running errands or staying at home, I think it is so nice to add a couple of fresh tops in pretty spring colors to your leggings and your joggers, just so that you can feel a little bit more spring-like. And then my second bonus tip is to add some pretty spring colors to your nails. So I have worn today the OPI's Cha-Cha Cherry, or is it Cha-Cha Ching Cherry? I'll put the link below. It's actually one of their colors that they have had in their line for several years. It's just a pretty pink with a little bit of shimmer to it. it makes me happy, you know, and like I said last week, that's one of the trends too, is just happiness in our fashion choices. So I think lightening up your nail color a little bit, adding some pretty polish in a pretty color that makes you happy is such a great way to get your outfits ready for spring. Thank you so much for joining me today. Those were 12 different ways to get ready for early spring. We are still a little ways out, but we want to be ready because we're so ready for spring. If you enjoyed today's video, give me a thumbs up. And hey, be sure to go follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I'd love to see you there. I've also got a link to my blog at Dress for My Day below. And don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed what you saw here today. Thanks, and I'll see you again really soon.